Hey team, welcome back to another video here. In this video we're going to be discussing, is it really the best thing to stretch after your workouts? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel here. If you're new here, my name's Jay from Explore the Movement. If you have not subscribed yet, I'd highly appreciate it if you help smash that subscribe button, help the channel grow. With that being said, let's get straight into the video, into the discussion and see what goes for what. So this is a question I get quite a bit of, when is the best time to actually stretch? Now, you have to look at it out of a subjective perspective because it definitely depends on the person itself. So first let's look at it this way. What is the aim of stretching? The aim of stretching is to increase range of motion in a joint, in a specific joint or muscle group. And what we want to achieve in stretching is to A, either make movement more efficient, or B, either get into positions that we need to showcase. So let's say gymnastics. Gymnastics, we need to be able to showcase the splits, we need to be able to do presses, we need to have an open shoulder position for hand balancing and handstands, and on the high bar, the P bar, the rings, that type of thing. Weightlifting, we need to be expressing the snatch, the clean and jerk, the bottom of the squat position, the overhead squat position. So we need those multifactorial points to go into our development of our range of motion. So we also do have where we do stretching training, which is more of a relaxed type of stretching, and this is where I refer more to your yoga based movement practice. Now, what happens when we stretch? When we stretch, our aim is to, like previously said, we need to increase range of motion. Now, in order to do that, there's two things that happen. We either have structural changes that has been shown. This is the connective tissue or the muscular tissue or the soft tissue. And then secondly, we have neurological changes. Now, this is the changes that most people are going to see more dramatically. Structural changes will take a little bit longer. Neurological changes happen much faster. Now, in order for structural changes to happen in muscle, we're actually looking to increase the sarcomeres in series with each other. And this in return basically lengthens the muscle or gives us more range. So as we go to the edges of our range of motion, we increase and we come to a position where these sarcomeres, these actin and myosin, these contractile proteins, move far away from each other to a point where they don't overlap as much anymore. And if you go past that point, then it's usually when you get a tear in the muscle. So what we're aiming to do structurally is to increase our strength on the end ranges of motion. So as the sarcomeres increase in length, we are looking to, over time, build more muscle in that range, get stronger, aka, and hence give us more range of motion. So one of the good ways of stretching will be loaded stretching in order for us at that end range of motion to continue building muscle and to increase range of motion structurally. Most acutely, we get neurological changes in stretching, where it's actually the nervous system inhibiting the muscular system or the movement system from a specific range of motion due to protection or not being in that position for very often. And then we get this tight pulling sensation on the muscle. Now, let's look at what type of stretchings we get. Well, stretching we get. We get active stretching, we get passive stretching, we get loaded stretching, we get ballistic stretching, we get the typical PIR stretching, APIR stretching, we get dynamic stretching. So the great thing is that all of these stretching methods work. It is just very specific to what sport you're going to use these different methods. If you're doing more of a taekwondo type of sport, then you are definitely looking at more ballistic, more dynamic type of stretching in order for the muscle and the system to be able to handle that. Moving away from that a little bit, when it gets to passive stretching, and people are very quick to jump on the, oh, passive stretching is not as effective as all the other stretchings, or passive stretching does nothing. This is not really true. When you look at passive stretching, let's look at what happens if you take a joint into end range of motion. Let's take the hamstrings because it's the easiest one to kind of visualize. So if you reach down to the floor and you try to touch the floor or go down as low as you possibly can with your legs in a locked position, you're going to feel that tight sensation on the back of your hamstring, the back of your leg. Now, when you get to a certain point, it's going to feel like that muscle so tight that it's stretching. But what in fact is happening is the muscle is not stretching. The muscle is going to end range of motion. But what you have to understand is that that end range of motion is a protective mechanism, which means that the lower you go, the more your nervous system goes, oh, hold on, you haven't been here in a while, or you haven't been here at all. I need to protect you before something happens, something bad happens, where you go and you end up structurally to the end of the muscle and then you tear the muscle. So your nervous system sends a signal from your brain, which is a protective signal, and it causes contraction. So when you look at it and that tight feeling that you get, that tight feeling is in fact a muscle contraction and not a relaxed state of where the muscle is elongated and it's on end and it's a tight rope and it's just pulling. That in fact is not happening. So when we look at what passive or relaxed stretching actually is, it's not really relaxed stretching because you're taking it to end range of motion and you cannot be relaxed. You're going to try to be relaxed, you're going to do your breathing exercises, but what in fact is happening physiologically is you are actually in a muscle contraction. Now there are different types of techniques that we can use to increase that passive range. We can do APIR, we can do contract relax, which is going to help us to get even further into the stretch, which means we are not yet on end of physical sarcomere length. If we then strength train in that range, we get stronger, muscle gets built, sarcomeres lay down, actin-myosin increases, and then we get an increase of range of motion. So now we're going to go back to the question of when is it the best time to stretch? And secondly to that question is it good to stretch after workouts? I said in the beginning of the video that it is very, very subjective. So let's look at two situations here. A, we need to perform a workout where we need to get into a snatch position. When we start the workout, we know that the bottom of the squat is not the greatest position, our overhead position is not the greatest position. So will it be beneficial for us to do stretching before the workout? Well, yes, it will. So it will put us in a better position because we will have those acute changes on the muscle or the joints that will allow us to receive better positions from the stretching that we just did prior to that. If we're not in a position where mobility is an issue, then you're going to do the warm-up, you're going to go through all of your preparatory exercises for your technique, and you're going to get straight into the workout. You don't have to waste time on sitting in positions or doing loaded stretching or active or ballistic or dynamic stretching to be able to get into positions because you are already primed to be able to showcase and express those positions. All you have to do is properly warm up, get the system ready, do a little bit of technique work, and then get straight into the workout. Now, a big thing that people misunderstand or misinterpret into it is that well, as soon as you finish with the workout, you had a high intense workout, and now you're finished. Now you have to go and stretch, because the stretching is going to reduce your muscle pain for the next day. This, in fact, and sorry to say this, is not true. Stretching after a workout to decrease muscle pain for the next few days is like saying, let's go and do more strength training in order to have less muscle pain. Because remember, what we need to look at and understand is that stretching is a muscle contraction at end range of motion. And we are stressing it because we want to increase range of motion. So by doing the whole workout for an hour or an hour and a half that you just worked out, you were expressing range of motion. You were going every single position into the snatch position for our specific purposes in this talk. You showcased the overhead positions, you had load over it. Every single time you were in a snatch, you were actually doing mobility work. Every single repetition is an expression of mobility. So by having load on it, you are actually doing loaded snatching. You're also doing stretching, you're also doing strength training. But stretching is just strength training at end range of motion. So by finishing the workout and then going to do additional stretching afterwards, you're going to have to ask yourself, A, why are you doing it? Are you doing it because, yes, you have a lack of range of motion still in the workout and you want to address your weaknesses? Good. But if you're going to do it because you want a reduction in muscle pain in the next few days, maybe it's not the best idea. Because by stretching, you're also damaging muscle fibers that will need time to recover, and damaged muscle fibers, especially on eccentric loading, has been shown to increase muscle pain for the next couple of days, specifically talking about DOMs. So I hope this helps you to understand a little bit better of why you should stretch and when you should stretch. And if you do like this video, please leave a thumbs up. I highly appreciate it. Share this video with your friends to help the channel grow. And if you stretch a specific time or a specific way, I'd love to hear about it. Leave it down in the comments here. If you're interested in more videos, please check them out here and here. And until next time, see you.